Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thanks again for joining me here. Happy Monday to you. Hope you have a phenomenal day. We're doing really well here, honestly, as a community. Congrats again to our community members for some phenomenal trades here. I mean, goodness gracious. Audio 202%, EDU, that's a short at 27%. What, Bitcoin 20%, 61%, XRP 42, Chainlink 61, VeChain 102, ADA 30, Cartesi 37, Dogecoin 38 and 44% for Bitcoin. That was all since yesterday night at 6 p.m. Most of that occurred while we were sleeping in the middle of the night. So again, congrats, awesome stuff. We're gonna actually look at some big picture things here that are really important. So the thing I wanna talk about is the monthly and just kind of discuss a little bit about the Fibonacci retracement levels here. We just ran up to retest perfectly at 0.5 fib level. So again, some things we want to talk about here, and we're going to discuss the backend data too. Again, if you're new to the channel, thanks again so much for watching. Please hit that like button, help us grow the channel. Greatly appreciate that. We actually saw a lot of folks last night smashing that like button. It really helped out a lot. So thank you so much. Okay, so what we want to talk about here is the last 7 days of liquidation. Just going to jump into the liquidation data first. And just note that a lot of shorts got hit pretty hard. We had a higher amount at 40,000, secondary amount at 41,300, and now there's some shorts starting to enter the game at 42.5. Okay, those are probably some high leverage shorts right there trying to catch the top. Again, it's hard to say when the top is because it keeps going up, right? As I mentioned yesterday, do not short this coin. Pretty much the bottom line for most coins, but you do got to recognize that some alts are going to start bleeding out today for Bitcoin dominance being so high, and we'll discuss that here in a minute. But the truth is, tons of liquidation levels down at 37 and 38,000. Okay, so again, that could be a target for the whales because they know that there's a lot of liquidation down there. Okay, so again, I wouldn't fault you for shorting at this point considering how high we've gone, right? It makes sense the price would pull back, but there's another thing we want to look at in the big picture too that's extremely relevant, okay? We'll touch on that here soon. So again, late longs here, high leverage late longs all got smashed again about 41,000. We've got some longs at high leverage. Those are 39,000 longs. We got a couple of those in our community, as a matter of fact. Massive profits on Bitcoin. Congrats on that. Of course, we got some low leverage longs at 38,000. That's probably roughly where ours are because we took about 60, 70% on a, 11x leverage trade. Okay, so again, pretty low leverage in the overall sense, but still kind of high for us anyways. No matter how you look at it though, longs are in game right now. So the last 4 days, 3 of the last 4 days, we've seen a lot of long, heavy focus. Basically just tells us that the aggregate amount of longs across the last 4 trading days, people are averaging more long positions than shorts. Okay, that makes sense. Obviously, you kind of gotta go with the tide, right? And if you keep trying to short upstream, you're gonna get hit pretty hard. So what that basically means for us here is that we've got liquidation levels. Let's zoom out a little bit better so we can see open interest for this larger time frame because things move so fast. We kind of got to look at that last few days. We got the most amount of open interest at about 38 to 38.5. More focus now at roughly about the 41,700 mark. And I'm curious if those are shorts or if those are longs. Let's just go ahead and double check that here. So looking at the most recent time frame, basically last 12, 24 hours, we can see there's a decent amount of shorts that got hit pretty hard, probably with that wick up there. But generally speaking, it's kind of all over the place, but there's less interest now than there was obviously at the 40,000 mark. So I'm sure some folks are just kind of calming down, relaxing. Also, this being a lot of weekend activity, people are pretty chill on the weekends, at least institutional traders and big money. So we don't see a ton of movement there, which does imply we will see probably a lot of movement this week. So let's talk about Bitcoin dominance. Just kind of quickly note this here. Okay, so let's go ahead and just go to the daily time frame. As you can see, Bitcoin dominance is extremely high. Again, just to familiarize you with this process here, this isn't an exact science, but this is fairly accurate, right? Because when Bitcoin dominance goes up, one of 3 things happens. Bitcoin price goes up, down, or stabilizes. Bitcoin price has been going up, therefore alts are supposed to go down. We've seen a lot of high-priced alts right now getting hit hard. For example, our short for EDU, we took profit on that one. That was extremely overextended. Same thing with Solana, AVAX, a handful of the good coins that are supposed to be stable and maintaining this price point, all wicked out down low based on Bitcoin just correcting itself a little bit. Okay, so be in mind. I'm not saying you want to short your shirt off, but a lot of those coins are going to be due for a correction, especially if Bitcoin pulls back to just say 40,000, 39, 38,000. We could very well see a dump in altcoins. Okay, so try not to get too heavy on altcoin longs right now. We cashed out on majority of our longs, most of them 70, 80% profit already, and we're gonna let the rest ride because our stop loss has been adjusted to break even. Okay, again, just some simple strategy stuff in the back end. Speaking of backend, looking at the daily time frame here, sorry, the monthly time frame, I just want to kind of note a couple of key factors here. Okay, so looking at the moving averages, we're above all three. Of course, we've known that for a while. We're still bullish, definitely in good shape here. But this looks like we are potentially due for a correction here, hitting that 0.5 Fibonacci level. It's a common retracement zone. In its history, though, in the last three bullish waves, 0.786 and 0.618 have been the most commonly retraced areas. Okay, in other words, the price will retrace, generally speaking, between 48,000 to 57,000. Okay. Not saying it's a guarantee, but it's common for these when these uptrends occur, for there to be one retracement just before the next. Okay, so again, this is like 0.786. This is that 1.0 level where the price action continues higher. So not saying that we're just going to reject out at 0.5 or 0.618. We just got to be mindful that 42,300 is a strong resistance level based on Fibonacci retracement levels over the last roughly 2 years of trading. Okay, so an important thing to note on the back end. Taking a quick look at the daily, let's just go ahead and work our way down here, and obviously talk about, well, let's start with the baseline here. First of all, let's take a look quickly at liquidity. If there is any liquidity at the upper levels, not just yet. There may be if today's candle closes lower than the current price action. 39,000 to 39.3 is a fair value gap. That's not very significant. Not super concerned with that guy. Again, a retest of 40,000 would make sense just based on that being a previous resistance level. Okay, but we didn't spend a lot of time at 40,000, so who's to say, right? MACD is converging here officially over the weekend. Obviously, we know that, and the RSI and money flow index are high. So when you break through 70 on the RSI, what happens next? Well, a lot of things can happen. We talked about this last night, that the price action may not come back down for a while. And the last time it did this, October 20th to November 13th, that was roughly 3 weeks of RSI being above 70. Not saying we're going to spend 3 weeks above that level right now, but breaking above implies that that's a new support level and the price action should maintain itself. Okay. In other words, if the price does pull back, we should see a bounce off 70 in the RSI. That's the initial thing we want to expect. Is it a guarantee? No, but it's a larger statistical probability. Okay. We always got to recognize that all these little things that we look at, we're just kind of building a case as to whether or not it's going to go up or down. I try to build a case as to whether or not I should take a trade or not, and in most cases, I'm trying to convince myself I don't want to, and if I do convince myself that I do, then I will take the trade, and we have a much higher probability of success. Okay, again, try to lean more towards not taking trades than taking trades, you'll be more successful. Okay. That's kind of where we're at there. So 42,200 is the highest point here for right now, or 42.3 if we round up a little bit for that 0.5 Fibonacci level on the larger time frame. So we can presume that that's going to be a strong resistance in the price action. Whether or not it pulls back, we'll have some difficulty crossing that plane, that 0.5 Fib on the monthly. Okay. Again, just some things to kind of recognize. TD sequential, we're at a 7. Hypothetically, we've got another couple of days before the price pulls back. Keep in mind, sometimes you can hit a 9 on TD sequential and not pull back. You can continue. But initially, it makes more sense to expect the price to retrace hitting a 9. Now we're at a 7 right now. It doesn't necessarily mean the price is going to keep shooting higher, but it does imply that we want to respect that and probably try not to short into it. But once more, we want to look at smaller time frames to identify that as well. Because again, as I mentioned before, we had what, 2 4s in a row, or sorry, 2 9s in a row on the 4-hour time frame. So if we take a look at this here, hit a 9 on TD sequential, overextended, consolidates, go sideways. Price comes up to a bull flag pattern, hits an 8, pretty much a 9. 8s and 9s are roughly the same thing, and then it breaks out. Price goes sideways, another flag again, price breaks out once more. So we've hit 3 9s in a row. Granted, 1 nice period of consolidation, 2 nice periods of consolidation, possibly even a third if you consider that. So the honest truth here is that while we are overextended, this is somewhat of a healthy continuation. We got a nice staircase type of pattern. Sorry, that's a very jagged line. The prices don't go backwards, but you get what I'm saying. If you were to walk up that, so to speak, you'd have much more success than trying to walk up a straight slope. Okay, so this last one's a little aggressive, I'll give it that, but honestly, the previous ones can almost be full resets, and we have a nice little situation here where we're overextended, but I really don't think a price point below 41 or 40,000 is ideal at this point, or a consideration. Okay, all right. That said, let's take a quick look here at Elliott Wave and just kind of note the obvious here, because I always like to prepare for the worst and hope for the best. And I know my community appreciates the realism there in the sense that these could be some areas of retracement. So these have changed since last night because, of course, the price is still discovering its highest point. Okay? So if this level at 42,200 is the highest point, which I'm leaning more towards that being the highest point in the immediate future, I don't I'm not against the 48,000 potential of that 0.618 fib on the monthly, but I do think that right now we will see the price action potentially retrace a little bit, possibly to this 40,500 mark, but quite possibly to 0.382, 0.5, or 0.618. So these are the levels: 37,650, 38,500, and 39,400. Okay. Now again, you can see the price spent a little bit of time here at 39.4. That would make the most sense for the price to pull back to, if it does. But again, you got to recognize we had this previous ascending trend line here, and this guy, we could literally just extend that out further, and that should be the new support. Speaking of support, let's take a quick look at moving averages and kind of see what that looks like. They're all ramping up pretty strong right now. So again, on the right side of the tracks here, shorting into this coin makes not a lot of sense. And I know as soon as I upload this video, the price will probably dump. You know, that's just generally how it works in this industry. So that's why we prepare for the worst and hope for the best, right? So we're prepared for the price to come back down, even though we don't want it to, right? Again, if it does, keep in mind Bitcoin pulls back, then we could have some problems with some altcoins. Okay. But to quickly note here, with the volume, significant amount of volume coming into this coin, all the more reason not to short into it. It is dangerous to short into this coin right now. I know a lot of folks shorted into the 39,000 range right here, and they got hit pretty hard, even though the volume was pretty low. So you never truly know. But with the volume being higher, it's an extremely telling sign that we're going to stay where we're at, and possibly even continue upwards. Especially when you got MicroStrategy buying $10,000 to $16,000 in Bitcoin almost daily. The price is going to keep going up. Everyone is filling their bags right now. So there's no reason not to. Okay. Again, I know it sucks if you buy in right now at 41,000 and the price goes down to just say 35 or something. You'll be frustrated that you bought the top, right? But we never truly know where the top is. But we do know that there's a lot of momentum, a lot of money coming out of this coin. That seems pretty likely to continue until we hit a critical mass, which we're not close to yet. Hourly, quickly to note, and we already know this here, everything tells us to leave our long position open. The lagging span is kind of hanging out here at about 40,500, upwards of about 41.2. So that's going to be somewhat of a support range. So the price comes into this area, and we don't drop down below within a couple of days. There's a stronger chance the price will continue higher from there. So all the more reason to not short this coin. I know it seems like an appropriate target considering we're overextended here, and we're a little bit into overtime, but I really don't like shorting coins that look like this here, specifically Bitcoin. So my anticipation would be to short some altcoins here today that are overextended, because if Bitcoin pulls back, I think those are going to be the first targets, the fresh meat, so to speak, for most whales. Okay. All right, folks. I'm so sorry. This is a long video. If you watched all the way through the end, you're a trooper. Comment below. Let me know if you did. I got some really, really awesome members that have been emailing me recently saying thank you for everything, but also I want to say thank you too for liking all the videos and making sure that it stays relevant, and providing good feedback, and just being an amazing part of my Discord, Telegram, and Twitter. I appreciate you guys very much. Those are really cool communities. Jump on over to there. Obviously, if you haven't already, again, BingX is requiring VPNs right now, which means KYC is on the horizon. May as well get ahead of the curve here. Bitunix, phenomenal exchange. Check them out. $5,500 in deposit rewards and newbie benefits. And just all in all, fantastic exchange. No KYC, no VPN. We'll look forward to seeing you on the next one. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care. Thank you.